Trey, Frazier, and Maestro styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up, yokes? Welcome back. It's a brand new episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We are streaming live on the YouTube channel, on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and also on the Facebook page. It's your boy Trey Frazier. It's the homie Maestro Styles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's good, man? What's popping?
I almost screamed "fuck" right as the joint cut on because I was trying to run and grab my phone charger, and I ran and grabbed the charger that I thought was my phone charger. And when I was getting ready to plug my phone up, I realized it was my AirPod charger. So I was about to, right as that joint, right as you was coming on, I was about to be like "fuck," but I realized it was.
I mean, what
That's.
difference would it have made? You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like,
not that's just not the way you should start a show, I guess. But what's up? What's good?
hey man, things are going great over here in the Frazier household. We got a basketball team in the conference finals. We got another basketball team that just lifted a banner over the weekend. Life is great on this side. Family's good. You know, shout out to the fam and all that. Yeah, man. I'm ready for. I'm ready to get the conference finals starting tomorrow. But we definitely got a good one starting tonight too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, man, some good basketball to get into. That's for certain, man.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. I mean, I knew the Knicks was playing tomorrow, but I didn't realize until maybe 15 minutes ago that the Western Conference Final started tonight. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and tap in once we get off of here.
Yeah, for certain. And shout out to the teams that bowed out in the last round. Denver took OKC to 7 games and got blown out in the game
Yeah, but
seven.
they got an ass whipping though.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
ass whipping was
yeah, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect Denver to get this far with an interim coach and that kind of makeup, but they got through the second round. Props to them, but that was not a good showing on Sunday.
No, that was a straight up ass whipping, and not to get too dramatic about that kind of ass whipping, but it kind of felt like a passing of the torch, if you will. Like,
Hmm.
Nikola Jokic ain't necessarily a star. I was watching somebody say, like he's not super marketable, all the things. He's not the flashy, exciting player that you're used to being the best player in the league
Yeah.
or the guy that the league kind of pushes. You know what I'm saying? So great basketball player, but it's like, this ain't the dude that you want to be on the billboards that represents the NBA. You know what I'm saying? It should be like a SGA or a Carl I'm not- Carl I said Carlton Towns or like a Anthony Edwards. It should be those
Yeah.
types of guys.
Yep.
So I think this Western Conference finals is going to be such an interesting series because I mean essentially what it feels like is like whoever comes out of this series
Hmm.
is going to be that NBA next. And I know Anthony Edwards said he don't necessarily want to be that guy. But I mean all
But
era.
it's like somebody said earlier, the attitude that he brings to the court, that ain't acting like he don't want to be face of the
Yeah.
NBA. The
Yeah.
way he plays on the court, the way he goes at guys doesn't sound to me like a guy that doesn't want to be the face of the NBA. All of those attributes that he displays on the court when he's playing tells me, hey, dude, you next, bro. Like
Well, maybe,
you're the guy.
he don't want to be, but all his characteristics, he has the characteristics of somebody that should be. That don't mean necessarily mean he wants to be.
Yeah.
Just means it could just mean that's who he is, and he just so happens to like to play basketball. Look, I don't know. I know that this dude is, not to, kind of give you an insight of how I'm feeling about the series this early, but
Hmm.
this dude seemed like he looked like the face of the NBA to me. That's what he looks like to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So, uh, you know, regardless of who wins, I definitely feel like whoever wins this series is definitely on the way to, being that taking that next step to being the face of the league, as LeBron on his way out and Steph on his way out, whether, certainly on his way out as far as the level of play. If he plays to 40, which I think he can do, um, what I'm saying? He won't be this Steph Curry, obviously. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, sure, sure.
like it's time for some young bucks to come up and start to take over this league. And I think Anthony Edwards, SGA, they're definitely some of the players in the game for sure.
Yep, yep. And I don't want to leave out, the Eastern Conference, and not just because the bias, but Jalen Brunson is playing like one of the best,
Sure.
playoff performers
Yeah.
in this postseason. And Tyrese Halliburton, who is not a superstar by no means, but has certainly kind of took a next step, towards being a star, being like
You
a
being
a
yeah,
star
like
point, a
again,
star point guard, a
I
star
saw you're right.
point guard.
I was it's funny when we got off the pod last week, I saw a clip of Gary Payton and I think Lou Young or somebody talking,
Hmm.
and they were just talking about how what happened to true point guards, like I guess by definition point guard. And like a lot of people was trying to say that Chris Paul was the last one, but I think we're seeing now that
Hmm.
Tyrese Halliburton, you know and they mentioned Rajon Rondo too, but
Yep.
I think
Hmm.
we're seeing that Tyrese Halliburton is on pace to be the best point guard of his era for certain.
Hmm.
When you talk about point guards that focus on facilitating the ball first and scoring second, Tyrese
Yep.
Halliburton is that.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
there's no argument there, and he'll play for 15 years just off of that skill alone. Like he'll have a
Hmm.
Chris Paul type career just off of the skill of being able to play point guard and run an offense. So
Yeah.
I don't ever think he'll be the guy in the NBA. I just don't.
Nah.
Um
Nah.
but is he going to be a Hall of Fame? I mean, I ain't gonna say he's going to be, but is he on the right trajectory to being a Hall of Famer, one of those point guards that play 20 years for certain?
Hmm. I think he could be a top 10 player in the league at some point.
Maybe. I
He
mean,
could be nine. He could be number nine.
maybe. Look. Again, it's just I'm just not prepared to make that list. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
but if you want to freestyle it, we can freestyle it. We got a little bit of time. If we're talking about ball players, you got to kind of have to put them there. If you're talking about ball players that's under, let's say 30, 35.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like those younger players. So we got to say under 30. You got to put Tyrese Halliburton there. You
You
can't
got to.
not
You
have.
have
You
to.
can't not have him there. I agree with you. He's probably 9 or 10. And
Hmm.
if you made me really make a list, I might be able to argue at putting him at 11 under. As far as players under 30. But yeah, we can't. I wouldn't argue that.
Hmm. Yeah. I
But I
don't.
just
I'm not.
say,
I'm not saying he's top 10 right now. He's
yeah,
outside of that right now for me.
I'm saying if you're talking about top 10 under 30, I think you definitely do have to put him there.
You think so? Okay. All right.
Again, you're asking, it's a off the rip question. You know what I'm saying? I don't know
Yeah.
everybody ages off rip, but you got Tatum, you got
Tatum,
Anthony
Brown,
Edwards,
Donovan Mitchell. If I'm
right? You know what I'm
just going off
saying?
names in the Eastern Conference, it's those guys. Brunson.
Donovan Mitchell's under 30 still, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
maybe yeah.
He might be approaching
He
30. I
might be
think he's
just 30, yeah,
more on the
maybe.
30 side than the other side for sure.
Right. Yeah.
But
So
I
if you're
think
talking
he's
about
still
those
under
types of
30.
players, yeah,
Hmm.
I think you would have to, again, without me having to having a list on top of my head, I think you
Hmm.
would have to put them there. But again, just being the guy, yeah. Again, it's hard for me to put point guards there
Yeah.
as the guy of the league. That is just where I stand. Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson, maybe Derrick Rose when he was held, at his
Hmm.
peak, But there's not many point guards you gonna put there, and because it's again point guards. Like these are guys that is like point guards, they're scoring guards, but
Yep.
as far as the facilitator first,
The
score
pure
second,
guys, the Chris
yeah,
Pauls, the
yeah,
John
is
Stocktons, the Rajon
yeah, like
Rondos. Yeah.
Chris Paul was never a top, like the guy. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Sure, you could
right.
argue him being in the top 5 at one point or top 10 at one point, but he was never the guy.
Hmm.
This is a game where we respect points, and there's no shade to
Yep.
people who get assists, but
Hmm.
we honor points.
And every time we talk Chris Paul, you know what I've always said. Every team he went to, whether it was OKC, the Rockets, when they were the Hornets at the time in New
Hmm.
Orleans, the Clippers, like wherever, all his stops, he's made that team a playoff team. So, there's some value into what he
Yeah,
brings to the table as a pure, point guard, pure facilitator.
right, for sure.
Tyrese can be that for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Pacers, our good friend Tiffney Sports N Heels is supposed to be joining us to discuss this Eastern Conference Finals matchup between the Pacers and the Knicks. So, if we get her on here at some point during the show, we'll definitely talk that. Of course, she's a big Ravens fan like I am, so we'll talk a little bit about what she feels about the offseason for the Ravens. She's also covering track and field for the SEC network, which is dope.
Yeah. Hmm.
Shout out to her, for getting that gig and everything. I've seen all the pictures on IG of her doing her thing. So, we'll discuss a little bit about that too. But, before she comes on here, I kind of do want to get a little messy with Ryan Clark versus RG3. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to that.
So I've been trying to catch up, and I should have did it yesterday when I saw your tweet, but yesterday was a rough day after work.
Hmm.
Um, but so when we were before the show, I was watching RG3's initial podcast where he was talking about Andrew Reese with his wife in the background not saying anything.
Hmm.
Um, and I gotta tell you, it rang like here's what I'll say before we get into RG3 versus Ryan Clark per se.
Yeah.
Um, I don't agree with RG3 on this topic, but I see his vantage point. Um, Not necessarily. I don't think Andrew Reese hates Caitlin Clark. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, I think what he should have said, which what I think would have been a little bit more palatable, was I can understand why these girls have a rivalry.
Hmm.
Um, but actually, if I'm being honest, and again, I'm fresh off watching the entire, I guess 20 or so minutes.
Hmm.
He said, no, it's not just a rivalry. She hates him. She hates her, meaning Andrew Reese hates Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm really like RG3, my guy. Look, so I backtrack everything I said. He's wrong. He's wrong. I disagree with him. It's like I just can't see it. Like, bro, like these like he mentioned how in that game, I guess this was Saturday's game or Sunday's game. I don't the
Saturday's
Fever
game.
versus Saturday's game, Fever versus
Yep.
the
Versus the Sky. Yep.
Sky.
Hmm.
So Caitlin Clark does like a Euro step into a 3-pointer, and Andrew Reese makes has an expression on her face like that of hate. Um, if you wanted to interpret it that way.
Yep.
I looked at it like, oh, maybe she's saying I mean, if you asked me what it looked like to me, oh, it looked like she traveled or she got some shit off that regular players don't get to get off, and she hated on it. It's a basketball move though, but it's not hate towards Caitlin Clark. It's like you know what I'm saying? Like it's a
Hmm.
rivalry. Like it's week one. It's they not feeling like it's it's like battle rap. Like these niggas be friends for real. They're like it's just that
And
in the
that's
heat of
already
the
on record.
sport.
That's already
Yeah,
on record that hey, they cool with each other, they respect each other. Maybe they don't hang out, together
yeah.
like that, but they respect each other's game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
so in the heat of, battling, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be some side eye shit. It's gonna be some, whatever to it,
Yep.
and that's okay. And that's what. But this is what I will say to RG3's point.
Hmm.
If she does hate Caitlin Clark, it's okay. It's okay, meaning Michael Jordan didn't love every single player he competed against.
Right.
You know
Zeke.
what I'm saying? Yeah, like he brought up Isaiah Thomas and the whole keeping him off the dream team or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think Angel Reese is Michael Jordan level hate towards Caitlin Clark. And if hate is the term you want to use, and I'm using quotation marks because I
Yep.
don't think it's hate. Um, but I guess I could see that point, I guess. But I don't like the term hate. I don't like the term hate. I don't like the term hate when forgive me for being a prisoner of visual. I don't like seeing the dude, paint Angel Reese to be the black woman hating with the white woman in the back, whether it was his wife or not. It's not about who he
Right. It
married
ain't.
or
It
who he
ain't
in
about
love
whether he's
with.
related to her or not. It's
I
not about
just
that.
don't like the visual of it. It just like, what was she there for? Was she your backup as you went into a race war, an
So
alleged race war?
for the record, for context, when he's doing these like video podcasts, she's
Mm-hmm.
always in the back with him. Like she's
Okay.
always sitting there. So this isn't just she just popped up because
Okay,
he's
that's
talking
fair.
about Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese.
That's
She's
fair.
always back there. But I'm with you in that like that's not the thing to like that's not the
It
thing
just
to
don't
say
look
because it's not
good.
true. It's not, but for me, it's not true. Angel Reese has the ring in college basketball. She beat her in the championship. She's got the ring. She can show off. She doesn't have to hate Caitlin Clark. You know what I'm
But
saying?
and again, this is only me playing devil's advocate, and I know the guest did pop up in the waiting room, so I'll keep the conversation as brief as I can, or include her, or
We'll
we'll
include
include her.
her in the convo. We'll include her in it.
Okay, so Angel Reese, since she has become famous, through college basketball, whatever, has done everything in her natural power to raise not only her stock as a celebrity, but the game stock, as far as women basketball. Whereas all Caitlin Clark has to do is just play basketball, and she is seemingly winning the game of who's elevating the game more. Now, I'm not saying they're in direct competition of that, but I could also see how the black man got to work 10 times harder just to play with the white man. You know what I'm saying? I can see
Yeah.
that angle too. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So do
Yep.
I again, I don't think Angel Reese got a hating bone in her body for
I don't think so at
Caitlin
all.
Clark. I think they on different paths for different reasons, and I think that Angel Reese pushed. I think it was who used to play for the mid that guard. They used to play for the mid. Whoever she pushed for the Fever. What's her name? Didn't like Caitlin Clark, meaning didn't like that wasn't called a foul, and because Angel
Right.
Reese should
And
have been
and and
called for a
Aaliyah
foul.
Boston was trying to kind of separate them.
Well,
And
before the
she I
separation.
know, but she ends up getting a tech herself after they kind of sorted through who deserves what. But yeah, no, I know who you're talking about right before
Yeah,
the
Natasha
play
Howard,
happened.
Natasha Howard. That's who it was. So
Hmm.
she pushes her and gets the rebound. Caitlin Clark was visibly saying, "Hey, that's a foul." Didn't get the call, so she fouls Angel Reese to prevent her from getting an easy layup. All
Yep.
these things are normal and
Good
natural,
foul.
and Angel Reese didn't like how she was fouled. Natural reaction.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yep.
know what
Don't
I'm
got a
saying?
problem with it. Don't got a problem with the
So
reaction at all.
and then Slim was like, I mean, RG3 was like, yeah, she didn't do that to Slim from Chicago. I'm not Slim from whoever pushed Andrew Reese got a
Oh,
liquor last year.
Kennedy Carter. You
Kennedy,
took.
thank you. She
Yep.
didn't get
Hmm.
she didn't get up with all that hate for Slim. And as a matter of
Yeah.
fact, she was praising Slim when it happened. And it's like, all right, bro, like what you want me to say? You want me to like So she hates her because she responded like, okay, sometimes you feel this way and sometimes you feel that way. I mean, I could see if your agenda is to prove they have a real issue. Like I can see that's how you want to come at it. I could
Yeah.
understand it from that angle if that's the angle you're trying to run with. But from my side, it's like, bro, it was basketball. It was basketball, bro. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it no more because at the end of the day, um, I'm playing basketball right now. I'm not in my ooh. This is me trying to raise the league. The league awareness bag. It's not the bag I'm in right now. I'm salty that we got smoked.
About 35.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like we got
Yeah.
smoked. That's why I don't
Crazy.
want to talk about what I said about Caitlin Clark last year and how it might fit this year. Like, what are we talking about? We got smoked by 35 in the opener, in the game opener. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, crazy stuff. All right. I want to continue this conversation with our guest here, but before I bring her on, the guest spot is going to be brought to you by our Barbershop Sports Talk podcast, New Era Snapback Trucker Hat, folks. I got about 5 of these things left over, man. These are some good hats, with the logo in the front, all gray with the black knitting in the back. Scan the QR code. It'll take you right to the IG account. Just DM us. Let us know you want a hat, and we can hook that up through mail for you. Get that, shipped out to you really, real quick there. So, all right, let's welcome back the guests. We got Miss Tiffney Sports N Heels, which you can find on IG at sports_N_heels. Tiff, welcome back. What's going on?
What's up?
Looking
Hi
busy
guys. How are you? Good to see you.
as well.
I am. I am. I am. I just got back in town Sunday from doing the SEC outdoor track and field championship. So, man, I'm tired.
Mm.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm
Some work,
tired.
huh? It's some work. It's like people look on TV and it's like, oh, this is
Oh,
easy, but it's not. It's a lot more than just being in front of the camera.
yeah, it's a lot that goes behind the scenes of not only officiating but putting on a championship. I was blessed this year that the outdoor championship was only in Lexington, so I didn't have to get on a plane and fly anywhere. But it's 3 days. You're on the track. You can be on the track 10-hour days. You know, from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And if there's weather, and there's lightning, there's delays. So,
Yeah,
but I don't see it as work. It's like literally one of my favorite things to do. I mean, this year I got to be a clerk, so basically I got to escort the athletes out to the start line and give them basic instructions. At the SEC level, we have a lot of people who come out of the SEC. They come out of college, period, but out of the SEC in particular,
hmm
we have a lot of athletes that come out and that go to the pro level and are able to compete on that national, world, and Olympic level. So it's pretty cool. You get to see some of the best athletes in the world during their collegiate years. And you have some athletes who's already competed in Paris. So it's pretty cool. I love it. So yeah, it's a lot. You're walking 14, 15,000 steps every day. Luckily we got fed pretty good this meet, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's cold cut sandwiches and pizza.
Amen.
So it can be hard on you, but it's my pleasure to be out there to support those athletes, especially the way the college landscape for athletics is changing anyway, right?
yeah, right.
So and how it's heavily impacting non-profitable sports like track and field. So it's my pleasure to be out there with those kids and watching them try to go to the next level as far as championships. So it's the best of the best in the country when you're looking at the SEC. So I have a ball, but I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So those long
Mm.
days, I also work a full time gig during the day. So I'm working it during the day, and then I'm working the meet at night. So for me, it's my day start at 7 a.m. And
Yeah.
I might not put my head on the pillow till 11 p.m. if I'm lucky.
hmm
And I'm doing that for several days in a row. But again, I don't see it as sacrifice because I'm working during the day so I can do what I do at night.
We love that.
So
We
Now
love
you're
that.
still working remote, right?
oh well,
Don't trigger her now.
yes and no.
Oh man.
Yeah, when Mr. Charlie start calling and throwing some money at your face, sometimes you're flexible so that you can maneuver the way you want. But I'm very transparent about what I do, what I like to do, and how I like to live my life. And so I don't hide what I do. I don't hide what I need and what I want for myself. And if I'm a good fit, I'm still a contractor, so I'm not FTE.
Mhm.
But I'm very transparent. Like, hey, I might not be a good fit for you because this is what I do. 9 months out of the year, 9 to 10 months out of the year, this is what I commit my time to doing. And it's really important to me. And if it doesn't fit for you, then I understand.
Right.
But this is kind of flexibility that I need. And luckily, I've been blessed to be able to find places that see that I have a lot to bring to the table. And I have stuff that I can contribute, and they want somebody on their team that can do what I do and is willing to be flexible. Again, I don't take off necessarily when I have meets. I just work remotely. So it's kind of a win-win situation, really. I'm not going to be off, but I'm going to be gone. So yes, I'm working from home sometimes, or I'm working from a hotel, but I'm working. Trust
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
So
That's dope stuff.
Yeah.
Dope stuff. There seems to be a delay, but I wanted to continue the conversation we were having about and more so on the Ryan Clark versus RG3 stuff. Talking about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, the foul that happened in Saturday's game, and RG3's
mhm,
response, and then Ryan Clark's response to
mhm,
that, and kind of RG3's clapback, which I
mhm.
didn't think was a clapback. I think he was acting like a Karen in my book. But your thoughts, Tiff, on this whole discourse about the foul.
Okay, so you guys know I'm like a 10+ year fan of the Fever.
Yep.
So I'm going to Fever games before. I was going back when Tamika Catchings, played, and I'm going back way back. So the Caitlin Clark phenomenon in Indianapolis is very disheartening, because we could go to those games, and no matter who was on the other side of the court, we had a good time at the Fever games. We supported our team, but we came to see other players from other teams. I remember when Maya Moore came. And we, as excited as we were for our own Indiana team, we were excited to see other teams across the league who had star players. So with Caitlin, unfortunately, what has come with her is an element that is not new to Indianapolis. Let's be real. It's the birthplace, or Indiana is the birthplace of um, K squared. But you know, it's disheartening because it changed the landscape of how you could enjoy women's basketball in Indianapolis. So when it comes to anything that has to do with Caitlin Clark, it's going to be multiplied times 100 with that element that has came to change the landscape, and the attitude and the energy of women's basketball in Indiana. So when it came to the foul, first of all, I saw the foul. It doesn't look any different than a foul that I've seen in women's basketball on the collegiate level, the high school level, and men's basketball. But again, there's that element of, and I like to think of it back when Larry Bird and Magic played against each other. And it was a very similar rhetoric that was, was talked about and used during that time to kind of create this energy between these two players that not only went beyond their youth years but went on to their professional careers. And I see that same energy surrounding these two players. I think what bothers me about Caitlin is that when we have these instances that they're playing ball, and things happen between those two particular players, she doesn't address it. And she stays silent. Not to say it's her responsibility, but you know what? Kind of, because you know the fan base that you're kind of bringing with you that's not necessarily about basketball. I would bet 1,000 FanDuel dollars that the people who are bringing this kind of energy don't even watch women's basketball.
That's fair.
Don't support women's basketball. Have never supported women's basketball, never watched women's basketball, could care less about women's basketball and the energy that they bring. And it's strictly about, that, to me, demonic, nature of, disdain and hatred.
Yeah.
And again, you mentioned earlier, Angel has a ring. Well, who does she take the ring from?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
She's also very vocal. She's very bold. And, I'm talking about Angel Reese.
Yep.
She's very, pro, this is who I am. I'm a Black woman, very proud Black woman. I'm going to be, the face of, basketball someday. And this is what I'm going to do. And I'm, like a lot of things that we've seen when it comes to sports, there's a element of she should be humble. And that Caitlin's a better player because she's opposite of Angel. So when it came to the discourse, and I saw what RG3 said, and his is not any different than what I hear Emmanuel say, that one guy, Emmanuel, the Nigerian who comes on ESPN.
Acho.
Yeah, Acho. Yeah. Or it's not any different. I think RG3's issue is that he doesn't talk basketball. He uses even his mannerisms when he was talking about Angel Reese are along the lines of stereotypical and mannerisms that mock what Black women are, in particular, and how she is. And he didn't talk about her basketball skills. He didn't talk about what she does on the court or what she does off the court. He made a caricature of her a little bit when he was discussing the argument. And I think that's where the perspective that Ryan Clark came from, is that just that perspective alone, because what RG3 keeps saying is, you came after me personally about, my family, about my take.
Which wasn't
but
the
your
case.
take
Which was
wasn't necessarily a sports take.
Right.
Right. Your take wasn't sports related. Your take was personal.
Mm-hmm.
So he, in his explanation, was tying where that might have come from, that you don't sit down and have conversations with women who experience this. And let me tell you, that atmosphere, that Angel Reese, they were making monkey noises. They were throwing things. They were being,
I believe it,
ridiculously aggressive. And it's a nasty, nasty atmosphere to have to play basketball in. So it's almost like he can't connect to that experience. And that's what Ryan Clark was talking about when he was talking about the take. And RG3 response wasn't really a response to me. He took it personal, as I expected. I mean, what he said is exactly what I would expect him to say. And he's playing TV, and I think there's just not going to be a connection there. So I mean, Ryan Clark is very intelligent, and I feel like RG3 is trying to play up to people who will never really like him. They've never liked him. And he's going to say what he's going to say in order to try to get liked. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about what RG3 say. Honestly, I hope Angel doesn't care about what RG3
we owe
does.
Rob Parker an apology from years ago. And for folks that you remember,
I mean, I'm not going to say what I want to say. I think he's corny.
That's a fair assessment. And Tiffany, don't ever come over here faking. You can say what you want over here. And so if you want to call a nigga corny, call a nigga corny.
Yeah, like
I accept that because it's funny. when you talk about him being corny, because look, let's be clear. On the football field, he was golden around here, and until the injury and all those things that happened in that second year and beyond. But I always looked at him, and it kind of, when you say the corner, it kind of triggered me. Like, damn, I remember looking at this dude thinking like it's something like just weird about his face. And
Mhm.
so, and I get it, like he just looked like a corny nigga. He do look that way. So we
Yeah.
ain't we ain't ashaming your thoughts on that. He
Rob
do
Parker
just look
tried to
like a
tell
corny nigga.
us years
But
like
what did Rob Parker say? What did Rob Parker say?
when he was on First Take, and I forget the actual phrase he used, and he actually got knocked for it. Like they actually suspended him for like a couple episodes or something like that. But he said something that was like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, why would you say that about RG3? Like in his blackness, it was something to do with his blackness, right?
Uh,
And years later, with all the cornball things he's done and what he said up to this point, yeah, we can look back at
mm,
what Rob Parker said and was like, yeah, dude, we rock with you. We didn't get it at first, but we kind of rock with you now about it. But
well,
Oh, I always thought he was corny. I always thought he was corny.
mhm,
And that's just because I can identify corny men. It's just a talent I have. And he's uncomfortable with his blackness. And he's allowed white people to make to to I don't want to say make him feel uncomfortable, but to that they feed into his being uncomfortable with his blackness.
mhm,
And he actually does better when he leans into when he's more confident in himself. When he's talking about something he actually knows about, first of
yeah.
all, he don't know nothing about basketball. Let's be 100.
yep,
So he don't know nothing about basketball. So it was already an uncomfortable subject for him anyway. So he based his opinion off of stereotypes and all this other stuff, right? He didn't even talk about basketball because he don't know nothing about basketball.
yep,
But I've seen RG3, he does some track and field commentary, and he knows track and field. He knows football and he knows track and field.
mhm,
When he's talking about those things, he's very confident. It's a totally different RG3.
Hmm.
But when he's talking about something that he has to play radio or play TV, he's very much uncomfortable with his blackness then. So it's like he's like relying on his media training instead of his own confidence and ability. And I say that because when Ryan Clark talks, he's very assured of himself. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
mhm,
In all circumstances.
yeah,
Even if he's fumbling over his words, his presence is very sure of himself. When I watch RG3's take, he wasn't even comfortable. Like he's not comfortable with his own self to even deliver that take. That's why he went out of his element and went doing mannerisms. Like what was that? What did that have anything to do with it? As if people don't have mannerisms. Anybody has mannerisms, especially talking about women's basketball. Like
Yeah, I
they all
think
have mannerisms. They're women.
I never really had to hear him talk until, obviously until he was on ESPN and all that. So I never really had an opinion of him up until he makes headlines for salacious comments. So I'm not going to pretend to actually have no real opinion of him outside of uh the way he looks to me physically. Like he look like, again, like I ain't, not to hold you, he look like the type of dude that would date white women. That's what he looked like in the face to me. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? So
You
I'm
said in the face.
yeah, yeah, like nah, like you could sense corny man. I could sense niggas that like to play in the snow.
mhm.
It just
Mhm.
I got in the words of my guy, Dr. Umar, got the snow bunny crisis going
yeah,
on.
like look, I don't know if it's a crisis. You love who you love, they ain't none of my business. I'm just saying he looked like the type, and he looked like the type of dude, and and I guess his history says as such. Tiffany, how you feeling about like? So I guess we hear that you fully on Ryan Clark's side. Like his approach. How you feeling about his approach to RG3's comments?
His approach was fine. I mean, he was commenting about the commentary that RG3 had, no different than any other commentary he would have about somebody's comments.
Mhm,
He made a comment about an analyst that was on, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Stephen A. He
Oh,
made a comment
Ogle.
about Stephen A's comments about LeBron. Yeah, so he makes commentary based upon what he sees on television, no different than what anybody does, none any of these podcasters do.
Yeah.
So I don't think his approach was wrong. I think again, he was explaining maybe why RG3 responded the way that he did. And he in his pointing out to RG3, because he wasn't talking to us, he was talking to RG3. In his pointing out of RG3, he was explaining to him why his message was delivered the way it was. And maybe for him to do some analysis on himself to figure out maybe your disconnect is A, B, C, and D. And this is why Ryan Clark approached it that way. I don't see anything wrong with that approach.
Yeah.
He addressed the man's comments.
Nope, not at all. And even what he said about him not being able to identify with how Black women feel is on point. I mean, he got divorced, by a white woman, and now he's married to another white woman. Like, that's not attacking your family. That's just talking about the situations, the social situations that you are living under. And because you live under those social situations, it's more difficult for you to understand that what you said about Angel Reese is not how you go about discussing what that dialogue is. You know what I'm saying? So Ryan Clark, he good with
not an athlete of her caliber. He talked about her like she wasn't a champion, a ring. You know what I'm saying? He talked about her like she was a. I don't know. He just didn't talk about her like it was an athlete of her caliber. And that's what I had a problem with. And Ryan Clark had a problem with it as well. Because I just don't see him. If it was roles were reversed, he would never talk about Caitlin Clark like that. He wouldn't use stereotypes to talk about her. He would talk about her game. But because he's fawning over himself to be accepted by, the media, that don't accept him, he's going to say what he thinks is going to get him accepted because he's not comfortable in his Blackness. He's not comfortable in himself, and he's not confident in who he is. So he has to go along with what. And I honestly believe he feels that way. That's how he views and sees Black women, even of that caliber. You understand what I'm saying? That's really what the problem is. That's how you view. That's why Ryan Clark brought it all the way full circle and saying you don't go home to a Black woman. You don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what your relationship is with your Black mother or what, if you even have a Black mother. Like, I don't know any of that. All I know is you can identify and connect to it because you don't even see the woman of that caliber in a high enough status to even speak to her game in that scenario. You immediately went to.
Not to cut you, Tiff. And this dude has been on record all over social media talking about how proud he is that he's got a white wife. He'll give any opportunity to mention, hey, I got a full glass of milk, standing right beside me. Like, it's like, dude, we don't care. Like,
but I don't want to do that, Trey. Look.
Milk. We don't care. I don't care who you're married to, bro. Like, who you? Like, you ain't gotta shove it down our face every time.
I'm with you because of how he talks about Black women. You know what I'm saying? If we're talking about how he talks about white women or his wife in particular in comparison to how he speaks about Black women of stature, then I'm with you 100%. But I ain't about to knock the dude. Like, nigga, if you like milk, then love milk. I ain't gonna sit here and hate on what you tweet about.
I don't want to hear you talk about it. I don't.
Well, then unfollow the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get those tweets.
I don't follow him.
I don't get those tweets. I didn't even know he talked like that until literally 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even know he talked about white women like that until I knew he was married to a white woman. I didn't even know he divorced a white woman and married another one.
Right. I don't care about his personal life either. I do, however, care that you're giving commentary about a successful Black athlete and not able to speak to her success or her, what's happened in the situation without dumbing her down to the level of, I don't even know. Like, you can't even.
I agree, because
you know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying, and I hope the audience understands what I'm saying.
Yeah, because like Trey's saying, like in the like, she won the ring. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we talking about a poop pup. We talking about somebody who's in direct comparison, and whether you like Caitlin Clark's game or Angel Reese, whoever game you like better. Like it's not like you're talking comparatively about somebody who's trash and somebody who is, above and beyond. And let's be clear, I'm not a
Correct. And let's
super fan of Angel Reese's game, but we're not gonna sit here and act like she's not getting the numbers that would suggest she big time, just like Caitlin
well,
Clark is big time.
yeah, but let's be clear. Up until the point that she got injured last season, she was in the running for Rookie of
But
the Year. Let's
that's
be
right.
clear. This
Yeah.
is not, you know what I'm saying?
And she led the league
Like,
in rebounds per game. And she still does after
exactly.
one
Like
game in the season.
Yeah.
so we're not talking about some fifth stringer who,
Right.
went after Caitlin Clark. Like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who is literally her peer.
Yeah.
At every level is
Yeah.
her peer.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So, and you talking about her mannerisms and stuff that don't have nothing to do with what happened in the situation. It's like, come on,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I
Like,
think that's where I think that's kind of where the line needed to be drawn. Like, don't talk about Andrew Reese like she's not Caitlin Clark's peer. I think you said that,
Right.
hit that right on the head.
Don't paint the picture like, she's an angry black woman. Like, because if that was Asia Wilson that fouled her like that, Angel Reese would react the same exact way. It's just
exactly. And the girl, no. Angel Reese has said, first of all, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are not enemies. I want to make that very clear. Both of them have publicly said that they're actually friends. So when my friend pushed me, we playing, now y'all done play pickup basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We friends, and you push me, I'm gonna get with you regardless, right? Why you do me like that? Which is probably what she said. What, man, what's wrong with you? What you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like they was finna cut each other up and, haul insults at each other like it was finna be long-term beef. It's like we playing basketball and that's what ball players do. But because again, when it's women, it get blown up into this big thing like it's, you know what I'm saying? And they playing ball.
Yeah,
they're not enemies.
The last thing I'll say is I did not like the way he made it seem like Andrew Reese was going to steal Caitlin Clark behind the foul. Like she had to be. He said literally, Aaliyah Boston saved her career. Like that right there. Yeah, I was like, bro, like, come on, bro, like that's crazy.
He made an assumption.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he made an assumption
Again,
that
he don't know nothing about. He don't know anything about basketball. That's why he said that. He making assumptions, and because he's one of us, they let him say that foolishness on on TV. Oh, it makes me so mad.
Yeah, he is, regardless of his flaws and all, his skin is black, and I'm not here to like take, uninvite him to the cookouts because he got different views, but we definitely need to be called to the carpet like much, so props to Ryan Clark for calling him to the carpet because that just wasn't a clean podcast he did. With his white wife in the background not saying anything. And I'm sorry, Trey, you did inform me that that's a natural that they do that and she just sits there. But the optic of you shitting on somebody that's equal to Caitlin Clark with your white woman in the background to the person who don't watch your podcast.
I agree that the optic is bad.
Yeah.
You make it sound so bad.
Yeah.
That make it sound so bad.
She didn't just pull up because of the topic.
Yeah, but it looks crazy. So we agree that it looks crazy. Okay, so
it looked crazy.
Let's look. I want you to get to bed at a nice hour, Tiff. So let's talk about the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. He got his garb on, and look.
There you go.
There you go.
You gotta find a way to flip the camera, but hey, here we go.
Yeah, because I ain't like it. And look, but I will say this before I let y'all go. Before I let y'all get to it. Shout out to the Pacers. I think I kind of had them beating Cleveland, maybe not the way, but some injuries. But y'all closed the deal. Nothing left to be said. With that being said, I just think this is the Knicks' time, and I think the Knicks are going to the finals. And I think the Knicks are going to the finals in 6.
Okay.
Yes. I just don't want to fake with you.
She's like,
You know,
okay.
you the homie. I don't never want to fake on you. I don't want to come in here and act like, oh, because he my co-host, and you know, I just want to, you know, be on the opposite and all the things. I know I get pegged for that. Oh, just being on the opposite of Trey just because that makes dialect more interesting on a show. I think the Knicks are going. I think the Knicks are going to the finals.
Cause Tiff, let's be real. He wants this Knicks run to end badly
I just
for
don't
us
want to
for
hear.
me.
I just don't want to hear him. But if I'm being realistic, yeah, that's how I think it's gonna go. And you know, like and like the Liberty won last year, and he wasn't that bad when the Liberty won last year, but it was just like it's just like make it like I don't like him having New York joy. I just don't. It's just something in me
that's really where that comes from. You know.
maybe I don't want it on a podcast. I don't know. It's
That's
just I
what it
don't
is. No,
know.
because he got to see me. He got to see me pull up every Tuesday
on a regular basis.
on a
Yeah.
regular basis. You know, got to talk my talk. So,
And
but Tiff,
Joey
I got to ask
Joey
you this.
Badass is tearing everybody, tearing the West Coast up. It's too much going. Yes.
Tiff, I got a question though, because last time you came on here, we were talking about the Pacers and this new team with Tyrese and Neesmith and Nemard and Siakam, and you know, you also talked about the organization as far as their willingness to pay certain players, you know, over the course of the years with the organization. Fast forward now, and yes, they gave Siakam a contract, which I don't think he's, you know, quite earned, but that's the market. That's, you know, that's what you get. You know, you play to get paid. You know, the market's the market. Do you feel the same about this organization moving forward, knowing that they got a legit chance at a championship? You know, some people don't feel that way. Maestro, you know, doesn't feel that way about the Pacers, but
But I
I
want to
mean,
be wrong.
but with the landscape, and especially without, you know, what's going on out west, Pacers got a legit chance at a championship. So do you feel that way today that you felt last year?
I love the Indiana Pacers colors this year. They just really mixing it up. You know how I'm gonna make a comparison. You know how we felt when the Ravens signed Derrick Henry and we started putting all these elements together. You just felt like something special was happening.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Even though it didn't happen.
Right.
Let's not go there. But you still felt like something special was going to happen. Like this is going to be a special season. Regardless of what happened, it's going to be a special season.
Yep.
I'm not feeling that with the Pacers. I feel like they got good chemistry and they're playing well. But I don't see anything special about them that makes me think that they're a legit contender for a championship. And I would love to be wrong. Do I think New York has it? No, I don't think y'all bench deep enough, but that's just me.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
I don't know if y'all can go 6, 7. I mean, you're going to have to win in 5 or 6 because y'all don't have enough to go to a finals and then play somebody tough. You know what I'm saying? Y'all one injury away from pissing the bed. So I feel like I don't feel like New York is any special. I just feel like there's an energy right now in New York that everybody's kind of jumping on. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a lot of energy in New York right now.
Yeah. Always.
You know, they haven't.
No, this
right,
is different.
but not like this.
Is
This is different. Thank you.
This is definitely different.
I think we're going to see a classic rivalry between the Pacers and the Knicks, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're done in 5. I don't even know if we can go 6, to be honest with you.
I've seen some predictions.
We have the depth.
I've seen predictions where they said Knicks in 5.
It's just an energy thing for me.
Yeah.
I always go by energy. I'm not saying that they're not good enough. I just feel like there's nothing special about them And
That's
until
absolutely fair.
game one's gonna tell me everything I need to know about their energy coming out the gate.
What
If they're coming out,
their style of play though? What about the fact that they could, like you said, the Knicks can't go, 7-8 deep, which is a fact. And I think the other part of that is that Tibbs just doesn't want to go, 8-9 deep, even though they do got some guys that could give you about, 10 minutes a night. But what about the fact that the Pacers can go 10 deep on any given night? What about the fact that they could play fast, they could go up and down the court, that they could turn you over, and that the defense is slightly better? I'm not going to say is that much better than last year. It's slightly better. Or to the fact that, like last year, they played some teams with some injuries. Milwaukee was hurt last year.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee was hurt again this year with Dame being out. Cleveland was hurt with some guys. And we were hurt last year, toward the end of that series in the game 7. Our whole starting 5 basically bowed out. So even with all that, you still feel like there's not an energy with the team. There's not something that could separate the Pacers from everyone that's left in the tournament.
I think they have the stamina because they have a deeper bench.
Mm-hmm.
They have the stamina to go to win in 6, to win in 7. They can wear teams down because they can bring fresh legs off the bench at any point. And they're going to be playmakers. And they have good chemistry with their bench players, right? So they can come in and drop 8, 10 and be difference makers in a series like this. So I think it's really just going to come down to if they booty get tight or not. Like, you get close to that point where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where you like, I'm almost reaching something and you get nervous and you get tight in your butt. And so you missing shots and, you're not moving as fast down the court and you're making a lot of mistakes. So
yeah,
if they can keep that energy, they can keep that, that mindset that they have right now, play fast, play hard, really wear y'all down, they have a legit chance because they can wear y'all down. They could really, they can really make this something special when it just seems like they're a good ball club. And they've gotten lucky. Like you said, they played teams that have been injured. So it's like they got the luck of the draw right now. So now you got a team that's hungry. They've been here before. It's a rivalry. It's a good rivalry. You got to go in New York. You know what I'm saying? Where the energy is at, right? And you got to win there in order to bring it home
exactly.
to win championships,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's and there's something special happening up there. Not to say there's something special. I think if they can win in New York and then come back and win in Indy, which they will, I think it's going to be tough for New York to beat that because you're going to give them the momentum and the confidence to beat y'all with the longevity that they're going to already have. So, I mean, with the stamina they're already going to have. I think it's going to be a good series. How good it's going to be game 1 is going to be a foreshadow, right? What energy the Pacers come out with. If they come out with like, we want this, and we know y'all don't think we deserve this, and we don't deserve to be here, because really, a lot of people ain't nobody really checking for Indianapolis ever. Who's checking for the Pacers? Never. Pacers don't come in any conversations unless they make it to the conference. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, nobody's turning on an Indiana game, right? Even when they're playing somebody like the Lakers, are like, we ain't watching that. Nobody's watching that. But people from Indiana, people who are Pacer fans. So
I'll say this.
This is a classic rivalry, and it has the potential to be a really good classic rivalry. But can New York come out on top? It's possible. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure New York can come out on top. I know there's an energy there, but I honestly believe that Indy really wants to upset y'all.
Oh, of course.
I think the Pacers really want to upset y'all. They want to pop that bubble and pull all that energy out.
They trying to prove something. They trying to prove something.
Can they go on and win a championship? I don't know.
They trying to prove something because guys like me are saying that the Pacers lucked into this spot again. I'll say this though, because you mentioned something about, being in those moments and making the mistakes and stuff. And we saw a lot of that when they went up against Boston in the conference final last year. Because I would say the majority of that series, Indiana was in there to win some games to kind of stretch that series. But it was those last 2 minutes of
Mm-hmm.
really each of those games. It was the last 2 minutes where there was a turnover. They didn't know where to be at. It was, not getting the ball in bounds. It was those kinds of mistakes that cost them. Whereas this year, and I get it's the first round, I get it's the second round, but I saw a different Pacers team just in terms of the final 2 minutes, just in terms of the moments, particularly with Tyrese, with the game winner in Milwaukee, with the moment he had in game 2 against Cleveland, where Cleveland botched that. We can, agree they botched that.
Yeah, I was gonna
They
say
botched
like,
it, but
Yeah.
how many
yeah.
teams would take advantage of that situation? There's not many that would do that.
I disagree with that, Trey.
You,
I was gonna say everybody takes it. If you botch it, I'm coming. I'm coming
not every team
with
can
the
take
thunder.
advantage
So
of
I
that.
mean, but it's not like but we're not talking about a regular season game though, bro. We're talking about the playoffs though. So sure.
right.
In theory, every team doesn't take advantage of botch situations by the other team. But in the playoffs, you're talking about the best of the best in the best of the best league in the
Sure, and
world.
even
You know what
some
I'm saying?
playoff teams
So
wouldn't take it, but even
Sh-
some playoff teams wouldn't
sure, but
be in
there's a
position to
way
take
higher
care of that.
probability. There's a way higher probability of a team that a playoff team taking advantage of the team that botches than it is of them not taking advantage of the team that botches. So it's like I hear you, but
I disagree
in
with
Yeah.
in the
that,
gra-
but
in the grand scheme of things, it's like I don't know what your angle is. Like, are you trying to convince her that the Pacers got a shot to
I'm
make
just
this
saying that the team looks different than last year.
No, I think I, yeah, I would agree with you on that. There is a little bit more leadership in the locker room. I think there's, they're not taking that underdog as in we got a chip on our shoulder. It's taking the underdog and saying we're going to play smart basketball this time around. So even if you don't notice how well we play on the court, you're going to notice how smart we are, particularly in those last 2 minutes. So they probably are doing drills or something where they're working on that. Again, how is that going to translate when you get on the big stage, which is the Eastern Conference Finals
Yeah.
in New
The next
York? You know what I'm
stage, yeah,
saying?
I get it.
Like a big
I get it.
rivalry.
Yeah.
It changes the dynamic. And so that's why I said game 1 is going to be a big teller for me because I could not watch any part of that game. But if I'm watching the last 2 minutes and Indiana is either going to be fighting for it or they're laying down, that's going to tell me
Mm-hmm.
everything I need to know about the
Mm-hmm.
series and how they're handling it. It doesn't even matter. To be honest with you, it don't even matter how they look the last 2 minutes of the whole season and these whole previous rounds. What matters is right
Sure.
now. What happens in these next 4 to 7 games, and then what happens at the next level? Because again, this is an entirely different, and for a lot of these guys, this is their first time to an Indiana New York, rivalry. If I'm coach, I'm putting them in there and they watching that 30 for 30 Knicks versus Pacers.
Man,
I'm
because
bringing
it's that
in,
energy.
you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
let me
Yeah,
say
I'm
this.
bringing that energy so you know that we ain't new to this. We not new to this. We not new to being the underdogs when it comes to playing the Knicks. Like
Yeah.
this is something our franchise as a whole has been used to for a very long time. And so you have the ability to change course. You have the ability to do something different. You have the ability to change the narrative in one game. And we just take it game by game. We keep changing that narrative until we're done.
Yeah. It should be that energy. Let me say it should be that energy. Like they should look at this like they got their style of ball and we got our style of ball. If we do everything right, our style of ball should beat their style of ball. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they should be looking
They
at it.
should feel that way. They should look at it that way. They did that last year. Granted, again, circumstances were different, but
Yeah.
if you're talking about the energy, if you're talking about the building, because let's face it, the building is sort of a caricature of itself compared to other places in the league. They beat us in the game 7. Like, you can't take that away from them. But it's different. It's different this year because it's the round. It's the round for all the marbles in the East. It's not the semis. It's the conference finals. So that's where it's different at.
Here's what I'll say. Into this series. The two best scorers are on the Knicks in the series.
Yeah, facts.
The two best scorers, and then the third best scorer is a point guard. And you know how I feel about point guards and taking in that ability to take over a series or games for that matter. Obviously, there are your anomalies where true point guards can take over games from a sense of scoring the basketball, but it normally doesn't happen.
For a game,
it just normally doesn't happen. So I mean, for me, Jalen Brunson, point guard, I get it, but obviously more of a scoring guard. You know that not the true point guard.
Yep.
By definition, like who is going to score with that dude? Like I don't believe Nemhard. I don't like. I see that. I've noticed that they try to put him in that situation and let him cook up and see if he could, score. Like maybe he's their best.
And he
scoring
hitting shots. I mean, he's hitting
but
shots.
Tell me about the 30-point game. You know what I'm saying? Tell me.
I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about his 3-point shooting has elevated.
He's consistent. He's a very consistent player.
Yes, right. But we talking about how we going to supersede Jalen Brunson's 27 to 35 and Cat's, let's say 19 to 25. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to be a player that, all right, they got their numbers, but now 4 or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? We down 8. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And I like Halliburton. We talked about him, the last real point guard in the game right now, doing it at a high level. You know what I'm saying? But is he going to be capable to put them on his back when those situations happen? So look, I think there will be a game. I think there'll be 2 games when that style, Indiana style, just beats out New York's style. Like they're able to do what they do better than New York in that game or those 2 games. But I think when it really just comes down to it, Brunson is the most likely player in the series to say, all right, y'all, I've had enough of everything. I've had enough of scheme and who does this and who does that. I'm just going to do what I do and nobody's going to be able to stop it. I think he's the best version of that in this series. Like I said a lot, and I think we're going to find out between Ant-Man and SGA. But those are those types of players that he can't be 6'1". He got to be 6'4". He got to be 6'4" and up. He got to be able to slash. He got to be able to get a rhythm shot going. He got to be able to get to the free throw line and then maybe play a possession or 2 of defense when it matters. Like Jalen Brunson is the closest to that in this series. And I think that when you got that and nobody like close to that on the other side, that's the reason for my, like, you make it seem so you trade, and that's why I'm saying the Knicks in 6.
I am too. I got him in 6.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was getting ready to ask you, because it's like it seemed like you feel like
I'm putting an asterisk next to that. Y'all have to stay healthy against this Indiana team. It's fast-paced, fast-moving Indiana team. Y'all got to stay healthy.
That is true.
Y'all one sprained ankle away from this series. You know what I'm saying? And this is not going to be a walk in the park for the Knicks. Indiana ain't going to lay down.
That's true.
So I feel like
it's true.
Saying it in 6 and then going to the next level healthy. I mean, I can almost see, even with the energy they have in New York, I can almost see this going 7 and because of the New York injuries. I'm not trying to say you're going to have injuries, but this is going to be a tough series.
But
I feel like we had the same conversation. It's like deja vu last year.
We absolutely did.
We kept saying it could go 6 and if then this and that, and then what happened?
Absolutely.
OG tore his hamstring up.
And it's this is what my problem with New York is. Y'all have a cocky, even though y'all got 5-6 players, y'all walk into the playoff thinking nobody gonna get hurt. Like this ain't real life. Like this literally nobody gonna get hurt, and no matter what, we gonna be good. And I like that attitude, except it hasn't won y'all any championships lately. And I just feel like y'all lose to teams like Indiana, and y'all face teams like Indiana who play a different style of basketball and have a different mindset when they're coming into the championships and building teams. And we're always the underdog. It's like New York is always, we're just gonna thug it out. That's really what it is. We're gonna thug it out with these 6 guys. And when y'all don't, it's always, oh, well, we had injuries. Like, no, y'all as an organization always trying to thug stuff out. So if y'all went to if y'all had 9 players, you know what I'm saying? Then I would say I wouldn't have any confidence. But y'all give me a lot of confidence because y'all do the same thing over and 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 over again. So New York's gonna do what New York's gonna do, and Indy gonna do what Indy gonna do, and it's just a matter of how the tables are gonna turn. Is the tables gonna stay the same where New York goes? Because if you go to the finals, you ain't winning the championship with no six niggas. I'm sorry, you're not doing it. You're not lasting the series.
Tiff, all right, that's the
I agree.
Right, the nigga that came out.
Tiff, I agree with some of what she's saying though, because if I was the coach. If I was a coach just for this round, because they got away with it against Detroit and they got away with it against Boston. But if I was the coach, I would be trying to find a way to get somebody like a Shamet on the floor for 10 minutes or and campaign. I don't know if that was just a bad series for him against Boston, but I would try to.
No, that's how he plays. So go ahead, put him on the court for 10 minutes.
And look, I'm not a campaign fan. Let's be clear about that. But he's on my roster, so I got to incorporate him, in some way. But if I'm the coach, just bottom line for me, I got to find a way to at least get 9 guys to be in this rotation, just for this series. Just for this series.
Well, look. That sure, that's cute. In my mind, it's only 2 injuries that pushes this to 7 games. That's Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. If one of those 2 get injured, then maybe I'll say Knicks in 7. This is Maestro talking. Nobody else. Don't worry, Trey. I got you. You can put your opinion out there. If none of them 2 get injured, this becomes a 7-game series. If none of those, if one of those 2 get injured, I'm sorry, that's a 7-game series. And I'm with you. But anything happens in a 7-game series. But
yeah,
but anybody else, I think I think the Knicks are fine.
I'll be honest with you, Maestro. I think if somebody like Bridges goes down or OG goes down, that's just one. That's one. Because look, the Knicks, of all the teams left in the tournament, they probably have the best starting 5 of all the 4 teams left in the tournament. They're top heavy, and then the next guy is Deuce. The next guy is Mitch, and then after
Mitch
that,
Robinson, and that's
it's just a toss up. But I think if one of those 5 go down, it's gonna force him to go to a Shamet or play Cam some more minutes, or he might just play 6 guys because we've seen Tibbs be stubborn in that fashion also. So I would have to slightly disagree that I think if any of them other guys get hurt, I think it could be problems, and I think it could threaten to go 7
What
games.
is the likelihood of any of those other guys getting hurt? I mean,
you said one
of your 6 is one of your 6 is going to. Of course, it doesn't matter if the other guys got hurt.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
I think because they're so top heavy, one of those guys going down, it's a serious.
Give me an example. What happens if Mikal Bridges gets hurt? Who comes in and fills the role, or do they go from 7 rotation to 6-man rotation?
In Tibbs's mind, he probably tries to get Shamet in there for more minutes, but depending on how the game goes, he will probably try to still play 6 guys.
Okay. And you feel
because look,
this is what
Mikal Bridges and look, everybody's made fun of the 5 picks that we gave up for him, but let's be honest, he closed the first 2 games against Boston with the defensive plays, And as far as offensively, he shows up every now and then, but he dropped 20 in game 6 the other night. He dropped another 20 in one of those other games in the series. He's valuable. Like, let's not act like Mel Bridges is not.
Nobody's saying he's not valuable. That we agree.
In some aspect of the game as the series goes on, he's going to be required in some of those moments down the stretch.
Yep. No argument there. No argument there. But again, I'd love to be wrong, and I would love to see the Knicks go down early for in the series for sake of suspense. But again,
a lot
I
of people
can't.
do, man.
I mean, because
we're the hated, man. For some reason,
I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think a lot of people. If it comes between the Knicks and the Pacers, nobody's going like, "Ooh,
we want the Pacers
really
to win."
Pacers.
Right? Nobody cares.
Nobody's caring to pick the Pacers.
I don't think y'all hated at all this year.
They'd rather have New York.
Nah.
I'm saying I don't think the Knicks are hated at all this year.
Well,
I don't think so either. I think I've seen a lot more Knicks.
I think
I disagree. I think that is New York fans.
I think y'all always think y'all hated, so that's why y'all.
I think y'all are hated by Boston, and that's the crux of where y'all getting y'all hate from. Don't nobody else around the league really care.
No, well, if you're talking about the league,
we don't really care about
the Knicks in the finals. Like, let's be clear.
I get that. I'm talking about as far as fans.
Oh,
right.
As far as fans,
fans wise, we don't pay no. Y'all don't give us a reason to hate y'all for real. Y'all ain't done nothing.
They ain't done nothing.
So why would we be?
But let us lose this series.
We don't have a reason to hate the Knicks. Y'all have done nothing.
Y'all do that to yourselves, and that's what y'all be missing. New York media and New York fans do that to yourselves. That don't be us. We don't like. I'm a Wizards fan. Dog.
Y'all, you on that boat by yourself.
Yeah, I don't care about what y'all do in real life. It's only because.
And I know this for a fact. Because I'm at SC season. You know, every night we watching the game every night.
Right.
And I'm asking who you. Everybody was Knicks. Nobody was. First of all, nobody. If anybody's hated, it's the Celtics. It's not the Knicks.
It's not the Knicks at all. Yeah,
it's not the Knicks. Nobody hates y'all.
Like, I'm a Wizards fan, and I don't like
you acting real RG3ish over there. Like, I need you to recognize. Yeah. Like, it's nobody hates y'all. Nobody's coming for you. We don't care.
We're not talking about like a dynasty. Y'all not the Patriots or nothing. Y'all just a team that the media likes to cover, and y'all love y'all team, which y'all should. Fandom should love their team.
Yeah,
but I mean, but it's not like y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not
it's they in the streets. Y'all just get out of the semis and y'all celebrating in the streets and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
blah.
like now I don't like the way y'all treated that Halliburton.
I bet you got one person. You probably got one person who sent you a text like that. Ain't no general consensus.
No,
you got one person who probably sent that to
because
you.
We celebrate our team differently than because look if the Wizards let's say the Wizards beat the Celtics in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna see that kind of energy in the streets by Chinatown compared to the energy by the Garden.
More important than that, Trey, the media ain't gonna cover it the way they would cover it at the Garden.
Sure, national media, sure,
right?
Yeah, like they just ain't gonna cover it the same. You know what I'm saying? Like New York is New York. It's media. That's the media for
capital.
real. You know, the capital is the word I was looking for. So you know what I'm saying? So it's just not going to happen the same way. I mean, the fact of the matter is that Indiana is not a sexy city or team to make the finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they don't have a star that's going to go out and get you 40.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's those things that count against the Pacers. So it's not so much that
and they never will.
And they never will.
Not since Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
Will they ever have a star?
Right. So maybe you draft them 1 year.
Except for 2000, but I don't want to talk about that. Except for 2000, but
I bet you don't.
That's where I gotta kind of draw the line, bro. Don't nobody hate the Knicks, bro. Nobody hates the Knicks.
Nobody's checking for the Knicks.
That is a narrative that is created by New York media and New York fans. Nobody hates the Knicks.
Hey, look, if I gotta play like Jordan, like think of things in my head.
Now, if LeBron moves from LA to New York, then you're gonna have,
yeah,
you're gonna have some
you're gonna
hate
have some
because
hate
because
everybody
it's
hate LeBron.
Because it's
So
LeBron.
you'll have some hate then. But I can't name one player on y'all team that people just like, oh my God,
Yeah,
nobody's
right.
hating on the
Like,
Knicks. I need you
who
to get
don't
that out
love
your
Jalen
head.
Brunson right
Not in
now?
a long time.
You know what it is? I think people outside of New York, I think they look at our fan base and they say, "Oh, we always overreact whenever the Knicks win," or
Yeah, like
win
you're
or
doing right
whatever.
now, talking about y'all hate it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's more. I don't think it's. My point is, I don't think the hate is for the team. I don't think the hate is for the players. I think the hate is more on the fan base. I think people outside don't like the fan base. It's kind of like Cowboys. It's kind of like people don't like Cowboys.
I was going to say, I think New York Knicks fans think they're Cowboys fans. Y'all not. We don't see y'all like that. You're not on the same level,
like
please.
That.
You're
I don't
not.
see myself like that.
I mean,
no, there's not. Let me send a message to all New York Knicks fans across the world. Nobody is checking.
Yes,
Nobody hates you. Nobody is checking for you. Nobody cares about you. You are not important enough for us to be thinking about you outside of this Eastern Conference Finals.
Now, let's be clear.
That's it. We don't even. Nobody. We're not. People outside New York is not looking at New York Knicks game on TV and throwing stuff at their TV because they can't stand the Knicks. Nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Now, I
I'm sorry. I hate to hurt your feelings. We love y'all, but we don't.
3 out of 6 championships or 3 out of 8 championships. All right.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, of course. From that perspective, yes.
Right.
From that perspective, yes.
But nobody.
We love Jalen Brunson. Y'all gotta understand that y'all not the team yet. Y'all on the come up of being the team. You know what I'm saying?
And I agree. I don't think people outside of New York hate the players. I don't think that. I just think people outside of New York hate the way the fan base reacts to the team.
I think people outside New York hate the individual Knicks fans. There are individual fans who, Now I don't hate you because I don't have that much experience with your Knicks stuff. I mean, just once a year.
I don't like you.
Once a year when we beat y'all. But I don't really have a lot of experience with a lot of Knicks fans. There's like one that rubs. He rubs everybody.
Who that? Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. We know him. Go ahead and say it. I'm not mentioning their names.
I'm not going to mention his names, but that's because he's lost in the sauce. He's lost in the New York sauce, man. And he ain't from New York. That's what makes it so bad. He's from Jersey.
He's from the bricks.
He on the other side of the bridge, and he capping for New York like he was born and raised in a borough. You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
Talk crazy to that.
But it's all good. We might hate an individual.
Don't say no name. She ain't say no name.
We might hate an individual, but
yeah.
I ain't say no names.
That's what's up. Hey, look. So this is I guess this is a whole little Trey and Tiffney podcast because I'm getting ready to ask you about how you feeling about the Ravens in the off season and y'all let go of y'all famed nasty ass kicker Justin Tucker. How you feeling about the Ravens in the off season? Yeah, I went straight to the nasty, man.
His good reputation. I'm not going to say anything about what Ravens did during the draft because the last time I said something about the Ravens during the draft, they drafted Kyle Hamilton, and I'm still eating crow off of that. So I'm not going to say anything about what the Ravens did. I know, right? Big time. Not saying anything.
Hey, at least
and then I met his dad and stuff. And I had to look that man in the face, and I couldn't even tell him like, I did not want our team to draft your son, but I didn't say nothing. But, I felt like I mentioned earlier, I felt like last year I thought it was going to be something special. The way they were playing with Derrick Henry, he was a great addition. He just brought a different energy. There's a different confidence about him, about the team. Huh?
I was saying shout out to him getting a contract.
And I just felt like, that was right. And I just thought it was something special was getting ready to happen. I still feel like something special can happen, but they let me down. And they not necessarily just the team, the coach. I just feel like either we got a good team and iffy coaching, or we got iffy coaching and a good team. Wait, did I say that right?
No,
Iffy
I get
team
what you were
and good
trying to say.
coaching.
You said the same thing.
Or
Either the players are bad or the coaching is
it's
bad.
not lining. They're not
Yeah,
aligning.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're not aligning, and I feel like I love the team that we have right now. Um, I think we made some additions in the offseason that's going to help us. I just feel like that don't mean shit unless we get our coaching down and they're ready for playoffs.
Yeah.
All this what we do, these 13 games, who we played during the season, none of that. Everybody coming to me, calling me, texting me. They look so good. They're going to be so. And I'm telling everybody,
Mm-hmm.
I am very much,
Reach.
I treat track and field, football like track and field. You can run in the NCAA championship or the Olympics the first 3 rounds and you look fantastic the first 3 rounds. Like you're going to blow the final away. And you can get in the final and shit the bed
Mm-hmm.
and come in 9th place,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's how I feel about the Ravens. They look good during the season. They play some games that have me making some questions like, how is this going to affect us down the line when it comes to playoffs? And it's mainly become the bad calls, bad coaching calls. And I'm just like, why do we make some decisions that we make when it's really important? And so I feel like there has to be an alignment. And I don't know. I don't really like our offensive coordinator, to be honest with you.
Mm.
I feel like there were some times during the season, during the playoffs, he made crucial decisions that kind of, I don't know. It's like it's almost on purpose. I just feel like we got to have that alignment. And so I can't get excited again because they already, how you meet when you dating somebody and you meet them and y'all cool, y'all texting, the communication is great. And then it starts to change a little bit and you like, that don't feel right. But I ain't going to say nothing. I'm going to keep it quiet. I'm going to keep it Gucci and keep enjoying it. And then you find out later, like, oh, that's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it's not what you thought it was going to be. And then you start all over with, and that's kind of, I feel like every season I'm like redating the Ravens.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And every season they texting me, they showing affection. And, I'm right there on their Instagram, like, watching the little thing. And then they piss me off and I'm like, I'm blocking the motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't know.
No, I get it. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I'm excited, but at the same time, I already know.
You waiting for January, like me. I'm waiting
and
for
it's
January.
reasonable.
Yes.
Y'all would prefer. Y'all would be cool with an 11-6 record if y'all went to the Super Bowl, but winning 13 games don't really mean nothing if you go to the championship, AFC championship, and lose.
Yeah, at home. I mean, nonetheless, too. But
and don't have to lose at home, and don't have to lose. Like it's like they handed you up. We had it on a platter. The Ravens traditionally win Super Bowls when they are away, when they have to go in somebody else's house and
or
win.
When they're not
and that's
the favorite.
how they win. Just for once, I wanted Lamar.
Or
when they're not the favorite.
When they're not the favorite.
I wanted Lamar to come in there and just win it for the boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, get that boy a championship. Get him the AFC champion. We can go to Super Bowl and lose, which we don't do, by the way. I want to remind people that we don't go to Super Bowl and lose. I know I live in a city with a team that go to the Super Bowl and they lose 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't do that. I'd rather not make it to Super Bowl than make it to Super Bowl and lose. But we got to get over that hump. And the fact that it was laid out for us, the carpet was laid out, the stadium was set. You know what I'm saying? The atmosphere was perfect. We got the right players on the team in the right positions. The energy was right. It's positive. Even the media was on board, which never happens when it comes to Lamar and the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? And I can't wrap my mind around what happened.
Yeah.
And so I can't be excited because that can happen again. And it's a very Raven thing to do, is what happened in that game. So I don't know.
I want to know what you think about this, Tiff.
We'll see.
I want to know what you think about this, because after the Bills loss in the playoffs, so somebody put this out there. So like when I watch the Chiefs in the playoffs, like during the Mahomes era, yeah, they'll make some mistakes on offense, but Chris Jones will come up with a 3rd down sack. an interception, like that defensive backfield, they'll get an interception. They'll make some game-changing plays to help their offense out. When I watch the Bills in the playoffs, yeah, Josh Allen might have a crucial turnover, or they turn it over on downs, but then the defense makes a couple plays, they make some interceptions, turnover on downs. Like the defenses, like those defenses in the playoffs for those respective teams, they make those kinds of plays, at least during those two guys' being there, right? Every Lamar playoff game since Lamar's been there, our defense has only had 2 turnovers throughout all these playoff games that Lamar has started. When Lamar plays great, Ravens win, no matter regular season, playoff, whatever. When there's a turnover by the offense or Lamar has a crucial interception, defense can't find a way to get a third down sack or an interception or a turnover. That's a problem for me. Yes, the offense needs to do better, but the defense not making those game-changing plays when it counts, that's the problem for me. I want to know what you feel about that.
I feel like I don't know if I 100% agree with that, because I feel like Kyle. Speaking of Kyle,
and I'm talking about in the playoffs.
I'm
talking about in the playoffs. I'm not talking about regular season.
Yeah, but even in the playoffs, I feel like he does that. I feel like what the Ravens is lacking is the type of leadership that they have in the locker room on the offensive side. So I think in previous years, we had leadership in the locker room that was defensive side focused.
Right. But and to add to that,
to
add to that also, in addition to the leadership, those guys was making plays. Those guys was turning the ball over. They was
but it was a different, and we don't really have a dog like that that's in the locker room. That's kind of like, okay, I'm taking the defense on my back and we're going to win this for our offense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they're relying on the offense, and even the leadership is the offense. You know what I'm saying? The leadership is Lamar. And they talk about it, and when you watch their interviews and they're talking about offseason and what happens during offseason, how they all bond with Lamar. Well, you be somebody in the locker room that's defense is kind of like, that's cool. I'm glad we had that, but we need to make sure we got our stuff on point. And it's kind of that leader and that dog, and I don't think we have that yet. And I think there's been a shift in the responsibility. We didn't rely on our offense previously. You know what I'm saying? Because we had Flacco. Even though Flacco was solid for when he needed to be solid, let's give him credit for that, right? Our leadership was on the defensive side.
Right.
Defense won us those
but
Super
they
Bowls.
made them plays too. But they made those game-changing interceptions.
Correct.
They made those third down sacks, the fourth down sacks, the strip fumbles.
Correct, because they gave that energy to the offense. They said, we're going to give you this ball back, right? They transferred that energy to the offense. They fueled the offense, but we don't have that now. Our offense is fueling everything, and our defense is not fueling anything. We have moments, we have sparks when we have moments, but they're on a consistency basis. When it comes to playoff, our defense is not fueling our offense, and our offense we can't fuel the defense. If we make a mistake, if offense makes a mistake, it's up to the defense to have a leader to say, all right, it's our turn. It's our turn to refuel our offense. And we don't have
those
that.
other teams I mentioned, Buffalo and Kansas City, like those teams, the offenses are the strengths of those teams, but they also got guys on defense that maybe they're not the best of leaders, but they're gonna make plays. They're gonna make plays when it counts.
I think you're talking about coaches on. I mean, when you're talking about the Chiefs and the Bills who understand situational football.
Yep.
Steve Spagnuolo, one of the best at it. And I mean, and when you talk about the Ravens, no disrespect, this is Zach Orr's first year, and I know you're not talking about just particularly 1 year, but you're talking about even with defensive coordinators before, like where you might have had a better defensive roster, right? Yeah, like you might have had a better defense, but none of those guys are spags. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as coaching, So I think that's that. being able to coach a defense through those situations, to get the plays, on how to get the plays, understanding situational football, especially when your offense gives up a turnover. I think that's what y'all lack. And another point, to Tiff's point, y'all missed out on Bobby Wagner, man. Bobby Wagner, he ended up going to the Commanders, but Bobby Wagner in that defense right now is the type of person I think you're talking about when you're talking about on the field, understand, coaching your guys up to understand the situation, A, and B, that leadership who where you getting it on the
Yep.
field and off the field as far as leading your team, but also we know Bobby Wagner can go out and get that sack when it's necessary, even get that interception when necessary. So I think I agree with Tiff. Like, you can't. I mean, defense win championships. I get offenses is they scoring points and all the things, but it still remains true. Defense wins championships. If you make a mistake, the defense has to be able to get you the ball back for you to win a game. So. Yeah, that I agree.
Yep.
But you didn't talk about nasty ass Justin Tucker though. I
She ain't
just
want to talk about it. She ain't want to
What's it
talk
say?
about it.
What is there
No,
to
I'm a
say?
Steelers fan. See, don't ever forget that I'm a Steelers fan.
Justice have your own, don't y'all have your own history with players with sexual assault.
Hey,
Don't let me talk
he
about
got he got
Rapelessberger.
off. He got off, and he had a Hall of Fame
Yeah,
career.
literally
Hey,
he got
hey,
off. Literally, he got
and
off.
and
Literally.
Justice White got off.
Literally and figuratively, he got off. Literally and figuratively, he got
Hey,
off.
and got us the chips out. Got us the
So
chips after
don't
that.
go
And got
there.
the chips after that.
You and the rest of the beehive bumblebees can take your little shots at Justin Tucker and shove it, because y'all
We ain't quit on
son
ours
was
though. We ain't quit on ours.
he was committing assaults since high school. So I ain't even trying to hear that.
I feel you.
I ain't even trying to hear that. No, Justin Tucker,
Justin Tucker. Justin Tucker.
This is gonna
Don't
be
say Justin Tuck.
Tuck. I know it's
don't
Tucker.
confuse
I
him with
know
the
it's Tucker.
Giants.
It's Tuck. That's what he's doing.
Don't confuse him with that guy.
Let me tell you what disappointed me about. Let me tell you what disappointed me about Tucker. Tucker was on his way to being in the Hall of Fame
We was talking about that,
as
Maestro.
one of the best quarterbacks, and this is going to be, But if Rapelessberger gets in, then he's good as golden.
Well, let's be clear. Justin Tucker's getting in. Maybe not first ballot, but he's getting in.
No, I don't know if he's getting in. It's going to be a long time. He might get in post-positive. What do they call that when you get in after you die?
Oh, postpartum.
Like they did Pete Rose.
Well, here's the difference. Here's the difference. Justin Tucker is having all this happen on the back end of his career.
That's a fact.
So let's say nobody picks him up, which I don't think is going to happen, at least not this offseason. I think he's got to sit this one out. Maybe somebody in the next offseason will pick him up. But let's just say nobody picks him up and he just kind of goes off into the sunset. When they start bringing this dude up as a possible candidate for the Hall of Fame, the first thing that people are going to mention is him getting cut because of these allegations. With Roethlisberger, that was
okay. So let me say something.
That was the fourth year of his career that happened. The man played 15 more years after that. So the first thing.
So let me say this. It wasn't really reported outside of Baltimore.
That's true.
It was on the ticker.
That's true.
It was on the ticker. The bottom of the screen.
Give me an example. Give me an example, Tiff.
No, she's saying that it wasn't a big story.
I didn't hear about it here.
She's saying that Justin Tucker was not a big story.
It wasn't a big story.
Okay.
It wasn't a big story. Okay. Him being released and the statement that came out, it was a flash in the pan.
Okay.
It was like, okay, they released Tucker.
Okay. No, I got you.
And a lot of people said, well, he wasn't. If you read the comments, a lot of people like, well, he ain't been playing well. So they don't associate it with him being released. I'm just saying. Now, if Justin Tucker looked like Lamar Jackson, it'll be front page news. I mean, look at what happened with Deshaun Watson. So, it's Justin Tucker.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna, we in a time period where, there's a lot of victim blaming going on. So, Justin Tucker doesn't come off as the razzle dazzle,
Right.
flashy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yeah, he
he
ain't
doesn't.
getting no smoke.
He looks
He
like the
ain't
boy
getting the
next.
smoke.
He's got the boy next door look. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? His name is Justin Tucker. He's a Hall of Fame
He
potential
ain't getting the
kicker.
he
He's a
ain't getting the
kicker
smoke.
out of all things. The most docile. You next to the kicker is the water boy.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't big news outside of
That's
Baltimore.
that
And
I
maybe
agree
in
with.
the Virginia,
Yeah, I
Maryland,
agree.
DC area, but once it hit Pennsylvania, Ohio, it's not a big deal. So how I feel about it, he got released. I think the Ravens did the right thing. They have to because
Yep.
Ray Rice.
Mm-hmm.
They have to
Yep.
do
Yeah.
the right thing. They're
Yep.
not in a position where they can kind of,
Yeah.
like, oh, we just gonna, let it go, or whatever. But I think it was a conversation they had, and they said, Justin, you ain't been playing well anyway. So really, I
Yeah, but they
mean,
hid behind that. They
I
they
feel
hid
like
behind
these
that statement.
allegations just give us yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's the NFL and it's the NFL
Yep.
owners. Come on,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
let's
For
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
For sure.
let's be
Yep.
honest. Like, does that
Folks,
surprise
because
you?
folks
No, it
try to
doesn't
act
surprise
like
me. So I
they
don't feel any
team is
way
the
about it.
best and they team is squeaky clean. No, no. All 32 NFL teams,
No,
they do the same dirt behind the scenes. It's
yeah,
just winning. It's just winning
yeah.
makes
It's
it, more easier to hide those things.
here's my question. How y'all think? And I just lost my earring back. But how do y'all feel about the Ravens re-sparking that rivalry with the Browns now that Shador is kind of the Lamar Jackson 2.0?
What?
Yeah.
What?
I ain't buying.
Shador,
I ain't buying it.
Shador,
Uh,
Shador is
it's
kind of
Cleveland. It's
he's
Cleveland.
got a lot of. I know, but I'm not talking about the rivalry in the sense that that Cleveland's going to play much better. But there's a potential to be there's some legit comparisons between Lamar and
Mm,
Shador. They both were kind of underdogs when it came to the
I don't
draft.
see it.
And there's a story there with those two teams that already exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And two players who have similar kind of
I don't see it.
media dislike them and stuff like that. It could stir some, a little rivalry between
I
those two
think
teams. And y'all
I
didn't
don't
see.
see
We
it.
talk
I don't
about it
see
here
it.
in this area.
I think that might be cute, the first Browns Ravens game. But unfortunately for Shador, let me be clear. Unfortunately for Shador, the Browns are going to do him dirty, and this won't be much of a story past that first game, win or lose. By the way, I mean, unless they smoke the Ravens game one, that first game, that won't be much of a story.
Nah.
Nobody believes that. Look, nobody believes that Shador Sanders is going to thrive in Cleveland. And the only real reason I think people think Shador is a quote unquote bad guy per se, or is because of all the how they handled it. I'm not playing for Cleveland. That's Dion. All the whatever that vitriol for Deion Sanders and the Sanders family name is.
Hmm.
Whatever that vitriol is, that's the only reason they're paying them that way. And the truth of the matter is that I think the NFL won in Cleveland drafting Shador Sanders in the fifth round over behind Slim from Oregon. Like like it's this ain't nothing but NFL monopoly. And like they can try to make a story of it because they're the NFL, they control the media, they control all of it. But I mean, do I think there will be a real Shador versus Lamar legitimate competition?
Nah.
Nah, not so long as he
Nah.
plays for Cleveland.
Nah. I don't see it. I just don't see how Cleveland is smart enough to make that even a thing. You know what I mean? Like they haven't made the best of decisions. I say this all the time. Maestro's a Steelers fan. You and I are Ravens fans, Tiff, and it's a blessing that we get to have a team in the division that's always going to be at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like it's just
And they got a
it,
good roster, and that's the thing. They have a decent roster.
yeah, they do. They do.
I'm saying they have a good roster.
They do.
And it's not really up to the team, it's up to the players. That roster might have some new energy. We don't know. They might turn this crappy situation, this toilet situation, and be something this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're making no
be
hooch in
enough
that toilet.
to knock somebody out the playoffs.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they
I
got
don't
a
think
good
they're
coach.
making no hooch in that toilet.
They could be enough to knock. They almost knocked Pittsburgh out the playoffs.
Look, yeah,
Which they
sure.
did at 1 year. Which they did
Yeah,
at 1 year.
look, sure.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to be winners this year. All they have to do is be good enough to knock one of us off the pedestal, to not go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think that would create a rivalry though. I mean, they like Trey said, they did it to us. They whooped our ass a couple of years ago with Baker Mayfield. That last Ben Roethlisberger year, I want to say it was. So our ass up. I mean, and look, I'm on the record. Um, that snow game we lost to Jameis Winston last year, it was some of the most disgusting shit I have ever seen in my life, and was a teller for me of how Pittsburgh was going to play the rest of the season, whether we made the playoffs or not. Like Trey will tell you, it's documented. I was not looking forward to Pittsburgh at all through the months of November and December last year, and it was mainly or let me say it started with that snow game Thursday night where we lost to Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. Where Jameis Winston threw 3, 4, maybe 5 interceptions that game. So yeah, maybe the Browns are still the Browns. That I think that's until they show me otherwise, meaning they can have a team, a perennial playoff
Be the
team for the next
Bengals. Just
4
be
or
the
5
Bengals.
years. Just be the Bengals.
Just
That's
be the
a great.
Bengals.
Just
That's
be
it.
the Bengals.
That's it.
I would feel comfortable rehashing this conversation, but I'm not comfortable. These niggas are the Browns.
And they got a good coach. Like Stefanski's a good coach.
I don't even know if I really like. Stefanski is a good offensive coach for certain. I don't know if I love him as a coach as far as all around the board.
As all around.
Yeah, he coaches offense well. Yeah, but I don't know if I love Kevin Stefanski as the head coach.
I mean, he's probably the best thing that happened to him. I mean, they kind of messed up.
Miles Garrett is the best thing that happened to him.
Sure, but they had something with Baker going, and they messed that up. Like, they messed that up, bro. Like
they both messed
it up.
Baker messed it up too.
Now.
I hear you, but when you say
he probably didn't help because he knew he was in a toilet of a fucking franchise.
But they came out and said, "Hey, we need an adult in the room," and then they go out and get Deshaun Watson and they give him guaranteed money.
Hey. Okay, let's get out of here. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we can go down a rabbit hole, and I don't want to cut off my camera to go grab my phone charger.
That's it. I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. Cleveland,
Baltimore. Are you sure that Shedeur is going to be the starter? Are you sure he's going to be the starter, Shedeur?
No, but I think they'll bring him out. So
who's going to start week 1 for them?
I think they'll bring him out. Oh, I don't. You have to get a Browns fan on the phone for that because I don't know.
Yeah. Now let me be clear.
Barney Rubble.
I think Shedeur should be starting by week 1. That's what I think. I think it should be Shedeur. It should be Joe Flacco and whoever you want to make number 3. Whoever pick your quarterback between Deshaun Watson, Gabriel, and Kenny Pickett.
They're gonna cut Pickett, and I think they're gonna flip Gabriel for somebody.
They're gonna cut Pickett. They need to cut Flacco. Flacco is 75 years old.
Yeah, but he's still playing manageable backup quarterback though.
And he kind of did something for him a couple years ago. He got him on that back half of the season into the playoffs. So, if I had to predict, I would say he's still one of the quarterbacks on the roster.
He's definitely one of the quarterbacks, and they just picked him back up, so they're definitely not getting rid of him. So we know he's. I
Oh, they
just
picked
don't.
him back
Yeah,
up.
I don't think he's starting though. In fact, I am confident
Mhm.
that he's not starting. I'd put
Shador
money
should
on
be
him.
good enough to win that
He should
competition.
start.
He
Yeah,
should be
he
good
should
enough to
start.
win that.
Like it.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to whoever, if Shador gets on the field, I'm looking forward to that portion of the
Yeah,
game,
for certain.
whether it's starting or
I'm
after
looking
the
forward to
first,
beating Cleveland's
after the
ass.
first.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And you should be looking forward to
No,
that too, Tiff.
I'm looking forward to making it to the playoffs, and I'm looking forward to them making the playoffs and playing well. That's what I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to. I'm not looking forward to
I'm
none of
looking
this
for a
other,
championship.
none of these other games. I
I'm
could
looking
yeah,
care
for a
that's
less.
what I'm talking
championship.
about. Yeah, I should be looking for championships.
Yeah. I'm in this championship mode right now. I should be looking for a Ravens Super Bowl championship this coming season.
For sure. Hey Tiff, man, we
I'm telling you,
appreciate
last year was
you. Go ahead, go ahead. Finish your thought. Finish your thought.
yeah, y'all always bring me on. I appreciate y'all. I had a good time as always. Maestro, you didn't get on my nerves as much this time.
Never.
So
I would never get on your nerves.
that's
You was my
good.
favorite Sports and Hills.
Yes, you do.
I would
Yes, you do.
never.
You do get on you and them bumblebee colors get on my
I ain't even
nerves
put on the
sometimes. But
jersey.
luckily, we didn't talk that much about football.
Um,
Good, good. I appreciate it. Only yellow I see is behind you, so
hmm
that works for me.
So
I get tired of
let
seeing
the
that.
people know where they can find you at.
Shit, I'm gonna be on somebody's track. That's where
All
you can
right.
find me.
All right.
That's what's up.
That's where I'm gonna be for the next, let's see, 6 to 8 weeks. I'll be somewhere, somebody's track meet working. But you can find me on Instagram on Sports and Hills. I'm on TikTok on Sports and Hills. I'm just yeah, that's where you can find me. And if you at a NCAA or USATF or World Athletics or one of those kind of meets, you can catch me on the track.
Yeah, if you at one of these
That's it.
track meets, holla at them, man. Tell them that we sent you. And make sure if you a Pittsburgh fan to put
No,
that
don't
black and
don't.
gold on. Just you ain't gotta go, don't walk up to her in her space, but just yell at her.
Yeah, don't, because
Yeah, yeah.
I'll throw up on
Yeah,
that.
but go ahead, show them Steelers colors and let them know what's happening.
Hey,
Yeah,
nah, never
whatever. Don't
that.
get your
Never
feelings hurt.
that.
Don't let your football team affiliation get you messed up.
Man, hold on. Let me go get my flag one time. Hold on. Let
Hey,
me.
look,
I got
Tiff.
that.
Okay.
Look,
On
Man.
that
Tiff,
note,
Tiff.
peace out.
Nah, hurry up.
Tiff.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I can always like get his screen off of the show. So, you know, I can
Okay.
always like get him
Yeah.
off the thing here.
But it
Yes. I see he went and got his
but
toilet
but
paper.
it's hey.
Nah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Tiff, as always, great job, that you've been doing with track and field and all that. We appreciate it. We gonna have you back on at some point again. And Knicks and 6. It's gonna be a great series, but Knicks and 6. And we'll catch you down the road.
I just want to okay, and I'll make sure I send you my address so I know what from you and Maestro when they don't win at 6.
Oh, okay. Then we'll win in 7.
I'll be
Then we'll win
expecting
in
some.
7.
No,
No.
I'll be expecting something.
I say less. Say less.
All right.
All right now.
Have a good
All
night,
right,
fellas.
Be
salute.
safe out there.
All right.
Salute. Appreciate Tiff Sports and Heels as always. We had a live chat, man. Just special shout outs here. Mocha Bella.
What up? What up?
Long time. Appreciate
All right. Are you gonna make me grab my charger for real, bro?
You really like
I'm at 7%.
okay.
I think we can thug this out.
There's no topics. I got no topics, but we had a live chat, and I just want to
Shout them out real quick. I'm sure you can do that in 2 seconds.
Tiffany Poodle in Portland.
What up?
Appreciate you. We got the X Squad online radio station up on here. Our boy Jungle Brother was good.
I ain't seen you in the brick.
Yeah, it's been a
I
theme.
hope everything good. I hope everything good in them chat rooms. I be seeing it on Facebook every now and then. I just mind my business, but I hope everything good over there, man. Shout out to the X Squad.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. My guys over at Three the Hardaway podcast,
Yes,
my guy
sir.
Tev Shakir and Savage and those guys.
Shout out to them
Appreciate you.
boys.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Gotta bring them back on at some point. And yeah, man, and in the IG live chat, I mean, this is popping. Key Willis, what up?
What
CJ
up?
Harden, Randy Wilson podcast, Soul Life. Appreciate all y'all. Jose Negron. Man, it's a popping show today, man. Got a lot going on. Appreciate everybody in these chats. Appreciate Tiff for coming through as well. Continue to follow us on social media. We got the Instagram account at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click on that like button on the Facebook page. And if you got questions, comments, hit us up on the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. So for myself and the homie Maestro Styles, we signing off. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up. It's gonna